Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd go over all of the books I read this fall. I have been back in school for a while, so I haven't been uploading a lot, and I apologize for that. But over the fall months, which for these purposes I'm considering October and November, not September, because I read a lot of summery books in September, I thought we'd just go over them. So this is my fall wrapped up. The first book I read this fall was like really good, and it was Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, and like chef's kiss, loved this book. It was so beautiful and amazing. Pretty much we followed the main character in two very distinct points in his life, the past and the now, and then they kind of intersect in the middle, and it's pretty much about his two loves and these two women that he loved in very different ways. Both are beautiful, and the entire book is just beautiful. Like, the writing is immaculate. Like, I ate up every single word, and I can't wait to read so much more of his books. I ended up rating it 4 stars. The next book I read was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, who is the author of The Inheritance Games. So if you are, missing The Inheritance Games, this is like a perfect book to go read, because it has like all of the same like tropes, but it's like, instead of like Knives Out kind of vibes, it's more Criminal Minds. The Naturals follows this teenager named Cassie, who is like a natural at profiling, and she ends up getting picked up by the FBI for this like special naturals project, where there's a bunch of other teenagers who have a bunch of different abilities. Like Criminal Minds, they're like this special unit of teenagers. One is an emotions reader, one's like a human lie detector, one's a statistical genius, and 2 of them are profilers, Cassie being one of them. But Cassie has her own past and her own problems and her own like case she would love to see solved, and like all good books, they kind of intersect, and the twist was amazing. I didn't see it coming. I was jaw-dropped, I was shocked, and it is just such a fun read, especially if you're into like crime and you're into Criminal Minds as a TV show. It is amazing. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I can't wait to finish this series. After that, this one might be a little controversial, but after I read The Naturals, I tackled a very popular book talk book that I didn't really love that much. I'm really scared to say it, but that would be The Silent Patient. I was excited to read this book because everybody and their mom was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I started reading it, and I couldn't really get into it. And then I finally forced myself to just like, I just need to get through it. So I read all of it and like tortured myself to get to the plot twist, which I will admit, the plot twist is insane. The plot twist is crazy. I love the plot twist. The entire first 2/3 of the book are built up for this plot twist, and it's like really hard to get to. And it's one of those books that like you get it at the end and you're like, oh, this is a good book. But is it? It's only a good book because of the plot twist at the end. And the plot twist, I will give it to you, is immaculate, is amazing. I loved it. It was crazy and it made sense and it was insane. But what about the entire first part of the book that I had to sit through that was just like built up for the plot twist? All that being said, I ended up rating it 2.5 stars because I couldn't give it to 3. But I do think it was better than a 2-star read because the writing style was engaging, and it was just a little boring because it lacked in plot at the beginning. Next, I read a classic, Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, which blew my mind. This is actually a really quick read if you're going to play like a quick classic to read. Like, here it is. It's like really hard to tell you what this book is about, but pretty much it's about a soldier who is home from war, and he kind of like time travels between, I don't even know if it's time traveling, but he like, I think it is, he like time travels between like him in the war, him before the war, him after the war, him on some alien planet, and that's all I can say. And when I say that, it sounds like literally like so crazy, but that's like, I can't describe it better. I'm sure there is somebody who can, so if you are interested in this book, maybe Google a synopsis, because maybe there's a better way to explain it, but like I can't, because it's such an insane book. but it's insane in the best way. And it is a classic. If you're looking for an easy classic to read, like, here it is. It's like really easy to read and it's short. I think it took like 4 hours to read and get through, and it's good. I ended up rating it 4 stars. Up next, I had the most anticipated read of the year, which was It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, I actually like went to a thing that they had in the city to get a signed copy of this book because I was so excited for it. I was like, you don't understand. I mean, you probably do, because everybody was hyped about this book. And I won't like drag on it too long because I do have a full review of specifically this book posted. I think it was my last video if you want to check that out. But It Starts With Us is a sequel to It Ends With Us, and it follows Lily and Atlas as they kind of like navigate life after It Ends With Us, with Lily going through, spoiler alert for It Ends With Us, Lily going through her divorce. That being said, I was like so hyped for this book, and I don't want to say it fell flat because it didn't. I read it in one night. It was cute. I was happy. But compared to every other Colleen Hoover book, it just felt like a really long epilogue. Like, not a lot of conflict happened. There wasn't a lot of hard-hitting stuff happening, and it was cute. I am happy that Lily and Atlas got their happily ever after. I felt like in this book I connected more with Atlas than I did in the first book because I didn't really connect to them in the first book. I did think it was an extended epilogue, and I probably won't read it again, at least for a very long time, if I ever read it again. All that being said, I rated it 3.5 stars because I did really like it. I thought it was lovely to see their happily ever after. I love to see Lily happy, but there were just things that didn't sit right with me with it being a sequel to It Ends With Us, which like impacted me so much. Again, if you want to see a full review of that, I have it somewhere else. Next, I read The Lover, which is a like French translation book. It is like really short and quick, and it's just so, I don't even know the word. Like, I read books all the time, but like I don't know words for things. It's about this teenager who starts this affair, I guess, with an older man, and it's about the love that they share and how like looking back it should be wrong, but in her eyes it's not, because nobody understands the love that they had for each other. And it is a really beautiful story about like love and like, I guess, like becoming yourself and like growing up and maturing and coming into yourself and finding out what you want in life. But it was beautifully written. It again is a really quick read, and it's a French literature translation, which I don't think I've read before, so that was really interesting for me, and ended up rating it 4 stars. Next, I had an arc, which was really exciting because it was the first arc in a while that I actually enjoyed reading. Before this, I think there was 3 arcs I read that I just didn't like at all, and I was like really defeated. And then I read this arc and I was so excited for it, and that is Whistleblower by Kate Marchant. And I am like, ooh, like, let's talk about it. Our main character is a journalist in the university newspaper, and she's kind of cracked this case where the head football coach is involved in a lot of sketchy things. And since the football team is like top of the top, like they're what's keeping this college funded, everyone loves them, they are like winning everything, she doesn't know what to do and she can't really say things, but she's like, I have to say something. So she starts working on something to like expose him, and then it gets shut down and she doesn't really know where to go from there. This book was just insane. It is actually insane that it was originally on Wattpad, but it is crazy compared to other like Wattpad books that get published. And I think that it is a really good book if you're looking for like college vibes, because in the acknowledgements the author directly says that she wrote it when she was reminiscing about college. And even just reading it and being in college, I could see how that is the case, because there are so many things in the book that just are college. So I think that that's amazing. I do think that's an impactful book, and that the message is also there, and it's an amazing book for YA. So I'm very excited for it to be released, and I ended up rating it 4 stars. It has just dawned on me that none of these books on my list are 5-star reads for the fall season. So that's kind of shocking. Maybe winter will sweep me off my feet. The next book I read was really a leap of faith, and that is You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. Prefacing this a little, I did not like One of Us is Lying, and the more I talk about the things I didn't like about One of Us is Lying, the more I don't like it. So I'm just gonna not go into it, but I didn't like the book, so I didn't want to read another Karen M. McManus book, even though she's very loved and everyone really likes her writing and her stories. I didn't like her most popular one, so I was like, she's not for me. And then I was working a few weeks ago and I was like, I need an audiobook, but my audiobooks were on hold. The ones I wanted, the other ones I wanted were checked out, and I couldn't really figure out what to read at my library, or what to listen to at my library. And here comes Karen M. McManus, You'll Be the Death of Me is one of the only books available at the time, and I was like, you know what, it's slow work day, I guess I'll just start it. And I started it, and then I finished it because I couldn't stop listening to it. Like, I was listening to it while I was walking the 5 minutes between my classes. I don't think it was this phenomenal, amazing book by any means. I do think I had such low expectations for this book because I didn't like One of Us is Lying that it exceeded all of them. It's a book about 3 friends who kind of fell out in high school, and then one day they all decide to skip together and they end up witnessing the murder of a classmate who they all have a reason to kill. I did not like the reveal. I didn't really like the twist as a whole. I thought it was well done and it made sense. I just think it was a little weird, if that makes sense. I was like, why did we go with this as what happened? But at the end of the day, it was good and it kept me entertained and I was gripped, so I ended up rating it 4 stars. After that, I listened to another audiobook, which was The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas, which again, I really loved. I was into it. I was gripped until the plot twist. I think that must just be a characteristic of me reading mysteries. I'm into it and then I'm disappointed by whatever twist they throw at me. The Cheerleaders follows Monica, who is the sister of one of the cheerleaders that died 5 years prior. There were 5 cheerleaders that all died the same year, and Monica is the sister of one of them, and she's the main character. She kind of starts drawing these connections between the different deaths of the cheerleaders that other people just never drew before, and in the end she ends up uncovering a whole mystery surrounding them. There's not much to say about this book except for, again, there were a lot of twists and turns that I was excited with, I loved, and then the plot twist happened and I was like, what? And then the epilogue happened and I was like, oh, I like this, but didn't like the plot twist, which is pretty much the whole point of mysteries. So I ended up rating this 3 stars because it was a good book and I did like it. I just think I'm starting to learn that I have a problem where I'm always disappointed with the plot twists in books. So maybe I should just stop reading mysteries. I don't know what to do at this point. And the final book I read in the month of fall, the final book I read in the season of fall, was Bones and All by Camille DeAngelis. I was trying to get excited for the movie, and the movie is amazing. I loved the movie. The book made me want to throw up. Bones and All is about a teenager named Marin who is left on her own after her mom kind of abandons her on her 16th birthday because she does the bad thing over and over again. And I can't really say what the bad thing is. I don't really want to, but if you know anything about this book, you know what the bad thing is. So pretty much she is abandoned on her own and she goes in search for her father, and that's the whole premise of the book. She ends up meeting people who are like her, and those relationships are kind of what causes the conflict. I did think it was a book that did what the author meant it to do after reading the acknowledgments, but it made me want to vomit at multiple points while reading. And it wasn't because it was graphic, because this is a YA book. It wasn't graphic at all, but it was just emotionally, psychologically messed me up while I was reading. I was like, I can't, like, I need to stop. And I think it was an overall good book. I just think that it was really a lot for a YA book. It's heavy. And that's all I'll say about it. I rated it 3 stars. And that is my fall wrapped up. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope I see you again soon. I am so sorry I don't post that much, but I'm trying. I am working hard at it. I really need to make time for you guys because I love you and I love making videos. But that all being said, I really hope I see you again before the end of winter when I make my winter recap. A little interjection here. If you do have any winter or Christmassy book recommendations, please leave them below because I'm at a loss. It is now December and I'm like, I don't know what to read that would put me in the vibe of, you know, winter, especially because it looks like this outside. Yeah, like I'm not in the winter spirit at all, and I really don't know how I get in the winter spirit. So if you have any recommendations, please leave them below. I'm begging you. But thank you for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.